So it with both series being at 3-0 right now, at time of this recording, it is pretty obvious that we know the matchups that we will get in the finals. And I've been, hanging on Twitter and everything. And it's one narrative that I've seen flowing around quite a bunch is that no one wants to see the Nuggets versus the Heat in the finals, that this is actually terrible for the NBA. No one, this is a disaster. No one will watch and everything. And the ratings may be low on this one, I ain't gonna lie, or definitely not as high as a Lakers Celtics, or if the Warriors would make it back in the finals or something. And I'm really here to argue that this is the greatest matchup that the NBA could have hoped for if we completely discard the money aspect. The only thing that would be bad for the NBA if we get two swept in the conference finals. Other than that, I'm really happy with the matchups that we get. If I take away my LeBron James fandom, I'm really happy. And here's why. First of all, this is a totally unexpected scenario. When we started the season, the Nuggets were kind of legit. Nikola Jokic stands would be out here and saying, Nikola Jokic have been missing his two best players for the better of the last two seasons. And they've had it, quality role pieces in KCP, Bruce Brown and them, right? But if you take away the Denver Nuggets, man, no one actually believed in the Nuggets. Even when they went out and grabbed the first seed, I want to say from week 2 and kept it all the way until the end, people were still doubting the Nuggets. The people still doubted the Nuggets during the playoffs while they were stomping on everyone. And it's just now that they're stomping on LeBron James that people are giving them the credit. And for the Miami Heat, it's even worse. At the beginning of the season, I will call cap on anyone that would say that they would pick the Heat to actually come out of the East at the beginning of the season, and especially the way the season actually went out, man. They for a while they were in the play-in, then they actually jumped back to the 5th seed, but then they got injuries, they got right back in the play-in, then they lost the first game in the play-in, they got blown out by the Hawks, they damn near lost to the Bulls, and once they match up with the Bucks, everyone thought it was over. They got the Bucks about to win 5. Then people would still pick the Knicks against them. Got the Heat about to win 5s, and now they're about to sweep the Celtics. This is insane. So I'm not a betting man. I should have actually went and looked out the Vegas odds on this matchup in the finals. But if anyone actually put like $10 on there, you're gonna make a lot of money. So that's point 1. Point 2 is that for me, this would be like the kind of the symbol of the end of the super team era. For the past, I want to say 10 years, we've been moving towards that end of the super team era, but still, all teams would have at least a big 2 and some kind of a big 3 when they won a ring, with the exception of the Milwaukee Bucks, but still, they had a very loaded squad, if you ask me. But for this ring, the Denver Nuggets are very, very good, well-balanced, but it's only one All-Star on that team. Jamal Murray really elevated his play. He's playing to All-Star level right now, but it's one All-Star on that team. Jamal Murray never made an All-Star team. Never. One All-Star on that team. And on the Heat side, it's only Jimmy Butler, and I don't even remember if he made the All-Star game this year. I think Bam made it, so yeah, same stuff. One superstar. Then you have a number 2, who's a very quality player, knows his role, and performs perfectly in that role, but also knows that he's number 2. And then it's depth, then it's ball movement, then it's player development, everything, roster construction. Both teams have been actually ridiculed for not making no big moves when they were knocking at the door, and they just trusted the process, no pun intended, toward the Sixers. And here they are. So this is a symbol for me that this is the end of, the assembled big 3s, big 2s. We've seen a bunch of them assembled lately, and they all failed. Lakers big 3 with Russell Westbrook failed. Clippers, multiple attempts at a super team failed miserably. Who else? The Brooklyn Nets failed. Now the Phoenix Suns failed. It's a bunch of them. So we're actually going to make a video later once the playoffs is all over of all of the teams, of the assembled super teams, the assembled kind of quote-unquote buying purchases of a championship that failed recently, because it's quite impressive when you think about it. So this matchup for me is really the end of that era. This is also the symbol point number three of elite parity in the NBA. It's been this narrative that's been flowing around all season that this is the most equity that we had in years in the league, that we really don't know who would be out there in the finals and who would win it. And that was capped for me the whole season, because the whole year, at least out east, people were saying it would be the Bucks or the Celtics. And out west, it was more up in the air, but people would take the Warriors once they got healthy, and people would take the Suns. Those were the two names on both sides. And some people would pick the Lakers once they started to figure it out. So, but no one would really pick the other teams, although other than those teams' fan bases. For example, I believed in the Sixers because I really like Embiid, but I don't see a lot of people who weren't Philly fans who actually picked the Sixers in the Heat. Same in the East. Same for the Heat. Same for the Knicks. Same for the Clippers. Same for the Nuggets, and I could go on. So that parity thing was capped for me, and then we got into the finals, and this is the symbol. The fact that those unexpected matchups are in the finals is kind of a symbol of this parity out there. Fourth point is the ring of roster balance and depth over big threes, and also really the rise of a good brand of basketball, high assists, ball movement, great coaching. This is definitely that. Both squads have been the team who've played the best brand of basketball in the playoffs in their respective conferences, representing. If you look at a Miami Heat basketball game, you'll have several plays of multiple extra passes, driving kicks. You get a good look that you turn down for an even better look, and that ends up, you use up like 20 to 24 seconds on the clock, ends up in a wide open three in the corner for a 50% shooter in the corner, cash, and you go back, you set your defense, and you guard defensively as a squad. Like the Miami Heat play a great brand of basketball. Jimmy Butler, for the superstar that he is, and for the groove that he's in offensively, he still trusts his teammates, and it's beautiful to see, especially the fact that most of his teammates have no status in this league. A bunch of them are undrafted, a bunch of them are old, a bunch of them have been called bad or mid, and he still trusts them like they're superstars. So this is beautiful. And Nikola Jokic is the most unselfish superstar that we have in this league. With the passing, it's a lot of cutting, a lot of backdoors for the Nuggets. They run a lot. They run the pick and roll perfectly. It's always great spacing, and even on defense, they really stepped it up a level. I've said that a bunch of times in these playoffs, especially on the team defense. And the coaching of Spo and Mike Malone do not get enough credit. It's a shame that neither of those guys have a Coach of the Year award, I believe. So shout out to those guys. And the last point, the last reason why we should embrace this matchup is just because it's history in the making. This would be the first ring for Jimmy Butler, and we would have to look back in NBA history and put it up there with the most impressive rings. This would definitely be the most impressive ring and championship run since Dirk in 2011, if Jimmy Butler was able to get it off with this squad. And for Nikola Jokic, I may do a whole video about what a ring would mean for him, but this would definitely solidify him as an all-time great, as a top 25 to top 20 player of all time with one ring, 2 MVPs, back-to-back, arguably 3 MVPs that he should have won, man. So, this is just a new page in history, a new superstar that will be remembered forever in this game, man. So I'm always excited as a fan of the game, although I'm a Joel Embiid fan, to witness that, man. So, So those are my 5 reasons why real hoopers should appreciate the Nuggets versus Heat finals matchup. So that's it for this video. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content with a friend. We have great content on the way. We will upload daily, even towards the off season. I talk about music on this channel too. I have a lot of album reviews on the way. The quality will be up. I got a mic on the way and a camera on the way, so you definitely want to be a part of that ride, man. We're trying to build a community in here, get a fresh take out here, a new perspective about the game, try and be as least toxic as possible and just talk about the game for what it is, man. So I really appreciate the guys that are already subscribed to the channel, and let's build, man. Appreciate you guys for checking me out, and I love y'all. Peace.